Jesus has just spent 2 days in Samaria. Think about that before anything else. 2 days in a community the Jews despised, 2 days among people who were considered the theologically corrupted, racially impure, compromised, and spiritually inferior by most Judeans and Galileans. Yet those same people, the ones Jews would walk around rather than walk through, responded to him with more openness, more humility, and more hunger than the people who had the scriptures memorized. And the promises preached to them every Sabbath, was intense, but here it is. That's how it is. John makes sure you feel that contrast, because when Jesus leaves Samaria and moves into Galilee, the shift in spiritual climate is subtle but significant. Samaritans receive him because of his word. Galilee receives him because of his works. Those are two very different types of reception. Samaria listened, Galilee watched. Samaria believed because of who he was. Galilee responded because of what he did. So John is not simply describing travel. He's showing you the difference between genuine faith and superficial excitement. And Patrick says, after the 2 days, he left for Galilee as if it's a simple travel note. But you cannot separate that line from what comes before it. 2 days of conversations, convictions, and conversions among people the Jews avoided. 2 days where the Lord stayed in a town that his own people considered beneath them, right? 2 days of honor from those who had every reason to resist him, yet somehow saw him more clearly than the ones who grew up with scripture in their hands. And he moves into Galilee, and John immediately interrupts the narrative with a parenthetical comment that shakes the foundation of the whole passage. Now Jesus himself had pointed out that a prophet had no honor in his country. So there you have it, right? Jesus goes and lets you know that prior to passing on. He says this, that a prophet has no honor in his own country. And that line isn't there to fill space. It's not a casual remark. It's a theological filter. John is telling you, read everything that follows through this reality. Jesus has already made it clear that a prophet has no honor in his own country. Those words don't just reflect Nazareth trying to kill him later. They speak to the deeper issue that familiarity creates contempt. That's what we were just speaking about, right? Even with us, we now, this is how we act. And we don't contempt the Lord, but sometimes we see things that don't look normal, right? In our walk, our Christianity, but it smells of the Lord, but it just isn't. And some people will crucify it. Some people will punish it because it's so very different. The Greek word Jesus uses for prophet is prophetes, someone who speaks on God's behalf, someone who carries his message, someone whose words are supposed to be met with reverence. The Hebrew idea behind the word is navi, right? God's spokesperson, a prophet, his representative. Throughout Israel's history, the navi was the man God raised to confront sin, call people back, warn them of their consequences, and reveal God's intentions. And if you follow the lives of the prophets, you'll see the pattern Jesus is describing. Their greatest resistance usually came from the own people. So, in today, just think about this. If you are meeting resistance, just know in areas that God put you in, and you're meeting resistance from people, just know this is nothing new. This is right up your alley, okay? Jeremiah suffered more from Judah than from Babylon. Elijah found more faith among Gentiles than Israelites. Isaiah saw Israel reject the very God who sent him. Jesus is identifying himself with that prophetic line, not only in role, but in rejection. Then comes the word honor. Jesus doesn't say a prophet has no welcome or no attention. He says a prophet has no honor. And the word in Greek is time. So he gets no honor, no time. And it means weight, worth, value. It's tied conceptually to the Hebrew idea of kavod, and we've spoken about that in my church. We do too. That's the weighty presence of the Lord, right? The glory of God expressed through heaviness. That's kavod, and that's something that matters so much you adjust yourself to it. Something that demands response. Something that carries weight. Honor is not applause. Honor is not interest. Honor is not liking someone's teaching. Honor is the decision to let someone's words affect how you live. The Galileans welcomed him, but they didn't honor him. They opened their, and this is the hometown boy, right? This is their hometown boy who's a rabbi. They didn't honor him. They opened their doors, but not their hearts. They were impressed, not transformed. They valued the display, but not the identity.